was 0 degrees outside.
Was
Which in the garage.
in the garage.
What?
And of course, in the garage, we also had a coal bin, and when they'd fill it up with coal, and we'd also, he didn't have wood, well, we used coal.
Huh. Excuse me a second. Gene, could you turn the thermostat so the furnace doesn't come on? I'm afraid the fan motor is going to over.
In the hallway there.
The fan makes just about as much noise as you all do. So you use coal and wood,
That's right.
and your mother did the washing
That's right.
in the
And
garage,
she hung the clothes out on the clothesline
even when it was cold.
when it was
Yeah,
cold.
we'd let them freeze and then she'd bring them in. She had a line in the dining room and we'd dry them. She said that kind of they dried faster if she put them on the line.
Yeah, they will, scientifically. You wouldn't think so, but
So, and she told me not to play with the washer one day and or wring clothes out, and I did, and I ran my right hand
oh gee.
up about like that in the water wringer. I think you kids were at school then.
Ringer, now, nobody
And the
today
wringer
knows.
was about that
Two-
big around.
Two rollers, right? Show the people.
Two rollers, right.
Two
Two
rollers.
rollers about like that.
And you run your clothes in between them.
Yeah, right.
But it was electric, see, we didn't have to turn.
Oh,
it.
you had an electric washing
Oh, we
machine?
had electric. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you had to-
Electric was in Frankfurt by the time we had the house. But if the lights went out, we had to have kerosene lamps so that we could do our schoolwork. I can remember doing our schoolwork by the lamps. Can you, Violet? I
don't
guess.
remember- I don't remember that.
I ain't here.
I didn't do schoolwork.
You did?
Didn't need to, you're so smart, or just said, I ain't gonna, they don't make no difference to me?
Well, I got by.
You got by.
And
I wasn't that dumb, I guess, but I did, in high school, I did make the National Honor Society.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
So anyway, I do have it in writing.
Once given, they can't take it back.
It's not like it is today. Yeah, you didn't have, your grades didn't have to be quite as high as they did today.
Okay, so education wasn't stressed so much then as it is now?
No,
no,
not as far as grading goes.
no, but we all had to finish high school, at least to finish high school.
That was as an order from your parents?
I always thought we had to. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think back then, and there was no question. I don't
just went
think
to
there were
school.
very few dropouts back in those days.
Okay,
Most everybody went to school, I think. And of course, we also had to walk to school,
about a mile?
a good mile.
Okay.
Half a mile to grade school, and you went home for lunch too.
Well, that kept you fit.
Not always. I thought sometimes that didn't you get back your lunch? I remember taking lunch at the grade school.
I used to
carry
walk home.
sandwich. I used to carry sandwiches once in a while.
Well, if you were in the band, you had to your lunch. You ate lunch and then took band, or that's the way it was when I was.
We
Yeah.
practiced softball. I think the kids
Oh.
did.
Okay. And if Violet and I, we could do the dishes together, we could clean the house together, but if we got to arguing about it, we ended up, one of us doing the dishes by ourselves and the other cleaning the house on Saturday.
Well, now, as
Isn't
much as
that right?
Violet talks, I don't know how y'all could argue. Did
She used to talk more. than
she used to
does
talk
now.
obviously a lot if Mom had rules about you guys arguing.
Yeah.
And you use your electric vacuum sweeper to clean the house?
No, we had what was it,
Hand sweeper.
it was a Bissell, I think. I think they had a
Could have
Bissell.
been, it could have been.
And it was, then when you got it full, they had plates underneath it, and you cleaned it up and finished up doing your work.
Mm.
And we had a lot of, though we had wood floors in,
We had
we had
rugs.
a lot,
We had rugs on it, as far as
Yeah.
I can remember. In the dining room and kitchen. In the dining room and living room, the kitchen had a linoleum.
and Mom and Dad's bedroom was downstairs,
Right.
and
There was 2 bedrooms up.
we had the two out.
You know?
I got married at the house.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I got to come down the stairway.
Okay.
Well, I didn't go to the wedding because I had come to Baltimore about a week before they got married.
For a job?
I went to work for Lynn Martin in that 1940, November 1941.
And
That's
what
right.
did you do for my wedding, Violet?
She probably wasn't she part of your assembly?
Don't you remember?
Brought you the cake, I guess, was all I
Yeah.
remember.
Well, talk a little louder towards the camera.
I'm not a talkative person. I stay in my own little corner and behave.
She's not always that way.
No, it's not the Violet I remember. Yeah, there's the laugh. That I remember that very much.
She brought me my wedding cake.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful three-tiered thing.
Three. And you made it, Violet?
Now, they're working in a pie company, working for making pies. And
You were living up in Muncie when she got married.
Muncie. And I forget now who I had to make it. Some bakery,
Some bakery?
hauled it down to Frankfurt.
On the train or the bus or you're in a car? Now, is there something that your parents told you or your grandparents that'd be very interesting to share with, say,
We never saw our grandparents, only one grandparent.
because they died of diseases or?
I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
I thought both of our grandparents' mothers died with pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understood, my grandma Niven went down the road to take care of a lady that was sick down there. And she traveled through snow and developed pneumonia and died from that. And then I thought that grandmother Palmer had done the same thing. She had been out looking for, I guess, our grandfather, and got in the snow. But back on the farm, we had wood fences, or they had wood fences about that high, and the snow would get up that deep.
Sure.
We don't see that much snow nowadays, but back then we used to have a lot more snow than we have now.
Well, I think Grandma Palmer, if I understand right, she died when our father was quite young.
9, I think he was 9.
And I don't know whether he was that old or not, because she died soon after Aunt Amy was born.
So,
I don't remember that.
so your parents both grew up without their parents,
Yeah,
basically.
but I know our father spent time in
Orphanage.
an orphanage or with his grandparents.
Okay.
Well, and he was hired out too by a farmer. And-
What do you, see, that's a term we don't know of today. Hired out, what does that mean?
You got your food
Room and board.
board. I don't know whether, I suppose he got some money too, but probably not much. And they done the farm work then. They helped the farmer.
Who
whatever.
hired him out? He was a kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but about 9 years old, or a little after he was 9 years old, a farmer over in Illinois took him. And,
Took him.
And,
Legally took him.
well,
Not legally, no.
no, I don't think so.
Just took him.
I mean, that's what they did. When you got certain age there at the orphanage, you just went to
You
Went to
for
work.
somebody.
went to work.
for someone.
For,
And he stayed there. He was there, and then he ended up on a thrashing ring, and that's how Mother met him. He and his cousin were with a thrashing machine,
They were,
a group, and wasn't that right?
they had the thrashing ring, and of course they circulate to different farms and do the thrashing and things of that sort.
would have been a steam-powered thrashing machine.
That's right.
Moved very slowly. Okay.
And of course, he had come to, he was originally born in Illinois, and of course he had come to Indiana.
Okay. Did he ever tell you anything about growing up, his experiences?
No, he never had I was, if anybody got the experience, it's probably our brother, because he was very close with my brother, and of course, I was in between two girls and a boy, and I
So
grew
he
up-
was a forgotten
I
guy.
grew
you
I
said.
grew up on my own.
Oh, okay.
But they were good parents, very good parents.
They took care of what we did. They took care of, kept us clothed and things of that sort.
They were dependable.
Their
The word was good.
our mother was a very religious lady.
Uh-huh.
She saw that we went to Sunday school and church. And that's where we got our religion from. Our father, when we moved to town, he worked different shifts, and so he was not with us too much as far as church goes.
Right.
But they were there when we needed them.
Well, they raised you all in a very difficult period of time called the Depression.
Right.
So just being able to keep food on the table and keep a roof over your head was quite a task.
And
We-
mother, after, I don't know whether it was during what, I don't think after, even maybe after I left home, we had a canning factory where they grew tomatoes and different things, and she'd work up there in the fall once in a while, I think. But
But then before that, she'd go out and clean houses or do washings and ironings and things like that. I mean, she was always busy doing something.
Well, she was very handy too, she also,
Embroidered and quilted,
that's right,
made our clothes, made our dresses.
she made the dresses for the girls.
And
Now, see, I say homemade, where it's personal seamstress making clothes is very expensive today. So that means you all had lots of money, right?
yeah.
Well, it was all.
If we got candy every 2 weeks.
All you wanted?
No.
No?
We got one bag and we had to share
Who got the bag?
it. Mother controlled
Oh.
it, I think, didn't she?
I don't know, when I went to work, I bought my own stuff,
Yeah, but
that's why I'm poor.
I mean, yeah. Well, when you were,
I didn't
of course,
save my money.
but I remember on payday, Mom would buy a bag of candy, and it was, handed out to us. I mean, we just didn't get to take what we wanted. We didn't have a dish setting out that we could pick up and eat whatever we wanted.
You just couldn't go get a piece of candy whenever you just so desired.
But we used to make homemade taffy and fudge. We had caramel popcorn, and
Mm-hmm.
we had plenty of popcorn and homemade ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
What else can we think of?
Well, that was most of it, I guess. But mother was very good about making that.
Made our own bread. And it was delicious when it came out of the oven. I didn't make it, my mother made it.
Fried chicken from chickens in your
Fried
backyard.
chicken,
We had plenty
Yeah.
of that.
She whacked the heads off.
I was gonna say, now how'd you kill the chickens? With a hatchet, I guess.
I don't know, was it or...
Hatchet, I think.
And I didn't remember whether it was them or Mom. They had a thing about that long, so one of them, and it like a machete. And
With an axe.
now I don't know, it may have been out at Vernon's folks, I don't know.
That was, I think we
But,
might have had an axe that could have used that, no, but,
and
or a hatchet, you could take a hatchet,
Yeah.
cut their heads off and things of that. And of course, every fall, my dad did butcher. Even not only a couple hogs, that once in a while they'd raise a calf and also butcher a calf.
Mm-hmm.
So then mother would cold pack it, I guess they call it,
mhm.
all the meat, things of that sort, and we had to put it down in the cellar and keep it down there.
So once a year, you had a chance to produce your food that you was gonna eat for the next year. And if you didn't,
Through the winter, right.
yeah. And so if you didn't work and produce,
All the garden stuff, that when it was ready, why she would can it and we'd store it down in the basement. Store potatoes down there, things of that sort. We had a half a basement when we moved there, and I don't know, I guess, when I was, I don't know how old I was. We
They
dug
dug
out
out
the rest
the
of the
other
basement,
half, mhm.
and then they made a full basement there.
Well, as you were young, looking forward to being an adult, how did you think the future